Hi, I'm James J. Traitz, author of the book, Don't Stop Your Mind. One of the fundamental questions, indeed one that I raise continuously, is science right that there is no spirit, soul, consciousness in the universe? That the entire universe occurred as a result of some mythical Big Bang emerging from a singularity, and that everything that is since followed has all occurred mechanically, deterministically, without a designer, a planner, or the involvement of consciousness. Well, let's take a very short snapshot view of what science believes, and you tell me if it even makes sense. They will tell you, if you go back billions of years ago, some 14 billion plus years ago, everything that exists, everything has ever existed, everything that ever will exist, all came together in a singularity, a point smaller than an atom, much smaller, smaller than an electron, everything. And then somehow that single point, beyond anything that could be seen, the entire universe exploded into being. We know from science, right, that everything that exists, since science only acknowledges physicality as existing. So let's take science with their own definitions. Everything that exists is composed of atoms, and every atom that exists is composed of electrons and the nucleus. The nucleus is composed of protons and neutrons. A proton is approximately 2,000 times more massive than the electron. Now, the electron is bound to the nucleus by what is called photon exchange. The nucleus, the proton and neutrons, are held together, bound together, because their inclination is to push apart, by what's called pion exchange. Pion exchange is in essence the exchange of quarks and antiquarks. Science initially thought it stopped there, but they discovered, to their consternation, that protons and neutrons are composed of something else yet called quarks. There are 6 quarks. The 2 lightest quarks are what neutrons and protons are composed of. A proton is composed of 1 up quark and 2 down quarks, and a neutron, 2 down quarks and 1 up quark. All right? Now, what keeps the quarks in relationship? Gluons. Now let's take a look at this picture of reality. Everything exists. The clouds above, the earthworm, your eye, your brain, and your typical scientist are all composed of the following. Quarks, which they don't even know what they are, by the way. So here we have 2 up quarks and a down quark that are in relationship based on gluons. They're exchanging gluons. Over here we have a neutron. That's got 1 up quark and 2 down quarks. The quarks are again bound to one another by gluons. These then 2 entities are bound to each other by pion exchange, the exchange of quarks and antiquarks. This then formed the nucleus, has a relationship with electrons that are bound to this nucleus by photon exchange. And what I just described is the entire composition of the universe, if science is right. Now you tell me. That all exists, and that all occurred by happenstance, by chance? My question is, and no scientist can answer, no scientist can answer this. So let me get this right. Let me get this straight. This absurdity that you want to attempt to thrust upon a relatively gullible mankind is that the totality of matter, mass, existence in the universe coalesced into a single point, smaller than an electron, infinitely heavy or massive, infinitely dense. And then this dot, all by itself, exploded into the entire magnificent universe we see and produced galaxies and stars and planets and moons and frogs and icicles and plants and ice cream sandwiches and physicists. And furthermore, somehow these atoms, very cooperatively for our benefit, assemble themselves, you see? And quarks, which came from where exactly? How did quarks get designed? Did they design themselves? Did they just exist? They just happened to be there? And then these quarks form a relationship bound by gluons. What are gluons? Who made those? Where did they come from? Did they just come into being by themselves? How'd they know to deal with quarks? And then the quarks form themselves into relationships so that scientists can call them protons and neutrons? Nice. And these protons and neutrons have this idyllic little relationship. Otherwise, nothing would exist. Ask any scientist. And conveniently, there's a pion exchange going on, formed all by itself. It designed itself. Now, there's electrons at various shell levels of orbit. The electrons don't go flying off. Why? Because of photon exchange. How nifty that is. Further research has shown that electrons are not in any particular place in the atom. They are everywhere at once. They exist everywhere at once within the atom. This huge cooperative venture. Now, can you believe, can you imagine the idiocy in believing that a dot of singularity created itself, formed an entire universe, which includes altruism, love, affection, caring, creativity, poetry, and science, all by itself. And then these particles hang together all by themselves. And let's not forget the convenient forces, the 5 known forces: electromagnetic, 2 of them, electricity and magnetism, electromagnetic energy, the nuclear weak force, which arises from beta decay, the nuclear strong force, and gravity. Oh, and those forces just conveniently happen to be there. Now, it is easier for scientists to believe that than to believe what really exists. God, and I'm not talking in a religious dimension, the creator of all being, the creator of all individuality, the creator and the source of all consciousness, formed a non-physical universe, not a drop of matter in it, gave the gift of individuality to us, the souls, the observers, the participators. We are miniature gods in that we were given the gift from God of co-creation. We co-create reality. How do we co-create reality? Collapse wave functions. We collapse wave functions. Every event and every object in the universe is governed by a wave function that takes that does not take any final form until the wave function collapses. Until then, it contains infinite probabilities. And it takes a consciousness to collapse a wave function and finish reality. Consciousness. What ancient masters knew. We create our own reality. Electromagnetic universe, because touch has an electromagnetic reality. Physics. Consciousness. Of matter. The fact of the matter is, the substance